is Grace, and as always, welcome back to Gravecraft. Okay, listen, I love Monster Hunter so very much. I'm wearing my Nergakuga pin today. All the way from Generation to World / Iceborne to the new hype for Wilds. I have actually made several Monster Hunter costumes and props in the past. I just have never filmed it. So today we're gonna change that. I also will say real quick that I'm in the process of moving, so there's literally boxes everywhere. So there will be some in the background, just letting you know. I have decided to make the Dober armor from Monster Hunter World Iceborne. But with a slight change. To be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of the Dober headdress. I think it's a little too, like, you know what I mean? So I am going to be swapping the headdress with the Rajang headdress. Here on Gravecraft, we are all about making whatever we want. Make the costume or the thing that you want to make, not what somebody else wants to make. And to be honest, I think the Rajang headdress just looks a little bit better with this costume. So if you happen to be a person who cares about 100% accuracy, I would look away. And I think the best way to start is to boot up the game, say hi to Mog, run to the smithy, and give you a little peek of what we are going to start working on today. Let's dive right in by making our patterns. I'm looking at the base models and just doodling the best I can doodle. Once I'm happy with my patterns, I cut them out and lay them out to make sure that I have patterned every single piece. Whoops, I forgot the breastplate, so let's pattern that real quick using the duct tape and plastic wrap method. I took a break and came back, and now I have no idea where I am or what I'm doing, or like what these pieces are. What is this? Oh, that's the breastplate. This is future Grace. I am almost done with the costume, but before we get any further in this video, I wanted to just put in this little moment to let you guys know that I was building this costume with my full-on chaotic ADD brain. There was no order or sequence. I literally was just making whatever piece was closest to me. So to make it a little easier on you guys to watch, I'm going to be editing it in a sequence. So starting with the bottom, the foot armor, and then working our way up to the headdress. That is not how I built it in real life. So if you see some things in the background that I haven't made yet, don't worry, I'll get to it. Just ignore them. Anywho, let's get back to the video and hopefully I'll be able to make some sense when editing this. We'll see. Okay, bye. So yeah, like I said, starting with the feet. This is actually the only footage I have of the foot armor, so let's move over to the leg armor instead. And if you've seen my videos before, it goes a little something like this. Cut out a foam, glue it together, and use your heat gun to heat shape. Wow, look at that shape. Whoops, it looks like I forgot to pattern the leg armor. Using said pattern, we're now going to cut it out of 10mm EVA foam from the Foamory. Then we took it out on my roof to do some dremeling, and I'm going to be doing my two favorite techniques for texture. You can use a lighter, or here I'm using a creme brulee torch, and a soldering iron to get lots of really cool, unique, organic textures.
Oh my god, it's so organic.
For all of the leather pieces on this costume, I really wanted to make them out of 3mm craft foam. So I did the big brain move of cutting everything out of 2mm craft foam and then gluing it to 1mm craft foam. So that can be the Gravecraft math lesson of the day. 2 + 1 = 3.
Yay!
After cutting everything out of craft foam, we connect our straps, we loop our straps around another strap, and then ta-da! We're done with the thigh armor. Then we finished our knees. It's like a little smiley face. Now, moving on up, we're going to be working on the pouches. And you guessed it, we're going to be cutting it out of craft foam. I used 4mm for the base and then 2mm for the fringe. Or is that 1mm? That's 1mm. I used 1mm. Oh, great soundbite. Definitely keep that in there. Then I just glued everything together and I marked where the front flap would go and glued the back only so that way it was functional. I did leave a hole so I could pop in the fringe. I popped in the fringe and then I popped out the fringe because I hated it and I'm going to change it later.
He likes his ladies to pop.
Now we get to do the fun task of making the hip horns. I say that ironically because it's not fun. Now that they're done, we get to Dremel them 100% beautifully in frame. Then we use the same texturing techniques as mentioned previously. Don't light it on fire, and try not to light it on fire again. Wear a respirator while doing these, by the way. Then last but not least, we cut out our flaps. Next up are the bracer and slinger. And to spare you some time, I just cut everything out using my pattern and textured it. Speaking of patterns, I now have my slinger pattern available on my Etsy page. If you'd like to check it out, I have left a link down below. Now, let's make it. I am so freaking confused. Alright, now that 90% of the bone armor pieces and the slinger are done, I think it's time we take a snack break. I primed everything off camera with 3 layers of Plasti Dip, and now I'm going in and dry brushing with this light brownish bone color. I do believe that happens to be the fastest base paint job I have ever done for a costume. Next up, I'm going to be finger painting on the little lines. I don't know what these are. Then for the weathering, I'm going in with a black acrylic wash for the arrow tip, then a silver highlight for the base. Now for the last detail, we just loop around some rope cord, and we are done. The lower half of the armor is done. Now we get to move to the upper half. And to do that, we are going to tackle the leather armor, and we are going to do the breastplate first. Do we all remember our math lesson from earlier? Well, forget it, because we no longer need math. This is going to be cut out of 4mm craft foam instead of 3mm craft foam. Don't ask me why. It's most likely because I was too lazy and didn't want to cut it out twice. Oh, really cool trick. You can use barge thinner on a Q-tip to get rid of a lot of those over glue lines. Be careful though, because if you do get it in the seams, your seams will start to open. Also, remember to wear your respirator. This stuff is toxic. Then I dremeled and sanded my seams with a 220 grit sandpaper. I personally like to use alligator clips for my breastplate attachments. I just connect it all with elastic band and hot glue. Then it is time for heat sealing. Heat sealing is one of the most important steps in armor making, and TLDR, it helps shrink the pores so you use less Plasti-Dip. Here is before and after. Good morning. Welcome to priming on my roof. It's like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and we're going to prime a few things today. Ow, this hurts my knee. All right, birds. I prime on my roof because I'm too lazy to go downstairs. Let's prime some stuff. And I'm sure my neighbors think I'm absolutely insane, by the way. One more coat, and you should be good. I went with 2 layers of Plasti-Dip and then a layer of equestrian brown spray paint. Now, the way that I like to make my foam look like leather is I like to scrunch it up as much as possible and get as many wrinkles as I possibly can. Dang, look at all them wrinkles. Then I paint on some watered down black acrylic and wipe it away lightly with a sock, so that way we have a lot of black paint that remains in those wrinkles. Then we just do it over every single leather piece and get really messy like a little craft goblin. Using some bone acrylic paint, I then just highlight the very edges, making the leather look really faded and old. We are finished making the leather armor pieces. Now we move on to making it look even more realistic and even more extra with a technique that I love very much, even though it is very time consuming and finger killing. And that is hand stitching with leather thread. And I think the best way to do this is going to be to roll a montage. Hand stitching this project took so much time, and it was really difficult for me to find a comfortable place to sit in and really hyper focus and just get it done until FlexiSpot sent me their C7 desk chair. As a maker who spends a lot of hours sitting in a chair, hand soldering gator print or cutting out a million scales, sculpting or hand stitching, prolonged sitting in my old desk chair that was given to me by my grandmother often led to a lot of shoulder and back pain. It was not a great chair, and I now know why my grandmother let me take it. Thanks a lot, Grandma. Especially someone like me who is over 30 and even sneezing wrong can hurt my back. This C7 ergonomic chair has made such a noticeable difference in just a few days and has provided me the support I needed to get stuff done. Where my old chair only had like one position, the C7 chair gives me much more options and supports my back no matter what position I'm working in and no matter what I'm working on or not working on.
I'll never forget you.
The adjustable features make sure that my old back is comfortable and supported. Wow, look at that angle. On top of all that, it's really easy to assemble after, of course, getting it up my stairs, and it can even hold up to 300 pounds. If you're a maker, artist, or really anyone who spends long hours at a desk, I highly recommend ditching your old chair and checking out the FlexiSpot C7 desk chair. And if you act now, you can use my code GRAVE50 for $50 off of your first order, plus a 30-day free return and a 10-year warranty. Thank you, FlexiSpot, for my amazing new desk chair, and thank you guys for listening. Now, let's get back to making stuff. So I finished all of the leather stitching on every armor piece, and then I realized that we forgot the belt, which is arguably one of the most important things in this costume. So to make that real quick, let's make another montage. I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. We are going to use the power of editing magic, and there will be a fully done belt right here. Nice. Now we move on to the little flappy upper body thing. And for this, I'm using pleather. I don't have any of that like thin kind of batting material to really give this a lot of oomph. What I do have is Sherpa. The batting, or in this case Sherpa, is just used for oomph. Then I attach it using Uhu glue. Uhu glue?
Ew.
Then I just flip it, stick it, and say later bye. Yes, I have used that quote before. And cut it on the other side and stitch them together. Then I flip it out, paint it with some black acrylic paint to match the other leather armor pieces. Then murdered my fingertips once again for the hand stitching. For the details, I made and painted these guys. Then stuck those little fellas on using super glue. I will be adding all of the fur to the costume, but first we should tackle the headdress. Alright, let's bust out this headdress real quick. Because we are using the same pattern pieces as I did for the hip horns, it should go pretty quick. I am using some scrap foam to build up some ridges, so that way we can save on using foam clay. Wow, this looks really gross. Good thing we are going to be covering it in said foam clay, so we will hide all those nasty hot glue globs. We are using the same techniques as before for the texturing and painting, so here the headdress is all finished. Now, how am I going to attach this to my head? I don't know. Okay, I figured it out. We're going to be using these little alligator clip thingies. Using our Shore Bonder hot glue, we just glue them on and then they'll just clip to my hair. Future Grace now saying, it actually works. home stretch. We're so close. So we have just a few remaining details. I think what makes this costume extra special are all of the bones. Now we just have to make all of those bones. And there's a lot of bones. And we are going to be making them out of foam clay. So let's get started.
It can't stay even on. That one. There you go.
It's like the thing you were doing.
You're surrounded by
Wow, check this grip. Okay, now that we have all 131 bones done, we need to go through and paint them all to kind of look similar to this. And then we need to attach them all using this rope cord. Oh Lord. That means that each one of these needs a little knot on the end of it. One down, 99 to go. I even made a bunch of little teeny tiny bones so I could make this little necklace. And speaking of necklace, look at this. What is this guy? I think we could sculpt something so much better. So let's do that using some monster clay. After finishing up the sculpt, I make a quick mold and cast him out of resin. Then he gets the same paint treatment. Then he gets glued to a cord with some other little bone claw things. In these last few remaining seconds, let's add the fur and the butt feathers. Feels so great to be done with this, and I cannot wait to take a look at the final results. But before I show you, I just wanted to quickly say thank you so much for watching, making it this far in the video. It really means a lot to me, and especially since this is going to be my last long form video in this space. I have been making costumes in this whole room for about 10-ish years now, and it's gonna be really sad saying goodbye to it, but I'm really happy that I got to share a little bit of it with you guys before we move to the new space that I'm really excited about showing you. So, of course, like always, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my social media page, and also don't forget to look on my Etsy page for that slinger pattern, plus more patterns too. You never know what you'll find. I don't even remember what's on there. And if you have any questions, just leave them down below. All right, I think we are ready to share the finished Dober costume. So, Roll that beautiful bean footage. Do people still say that? What you doing? Killed her.
It's mean.